Hi there, Mai, and welcome to the Heart Place Hospital podcast, where we open minds and hearts, challenge the norms, and support people to experience opportunities of healing transformation. I absolutely welcome you here on the mat, literally. Mitch Kane, a breathwork facilitator and a holistic lifestyle coach, which I love. I love that. And I love that the service providers that we're now bringing into Heart Place Hospital, they're very multifaceted. So that's what I'm getting from holistic lifestyle coach. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. We met locally in the Magic, Mangawhai, through multiple ways. We kind of touched points a few times, which happens in villages, doesn't it? Yeah. And so today we're going to dive into breathwork, which I always talk about how I discovered breathwork 9 years ago. And when I did, I was reading a library book about it, actually. I read it in one sitting. And I was just like looking around going, how come no one's taught me how to breathe? How magical is this? So we're going to dive into the breathwork. It's really exciting. Great modality. But also look at the connection to that nervous system and just how impactful breathwork is into that transformation. So I'm really looking forward to diving into that. But I guess a really good starting point, because a lot of people that listen to this, they're kind of getting insights or downloads or getting pulled to do healing modalities, do caring roles. So I think it's really cool for us to really share our service providers. How the heck did you get into this? Yeah, I think a really good starting point.
I think, well, firstly, thank you for having me. It's
You're
beautiful
welcome.
to be here in this amazing studio space you've set up. And just thank you for the work that you do in creating these spaces and sharing these different modalities. And yeah, a little bit about me, how I got into breathwork was really just on my own healing journey. And I had a lot of physical injuries at a young age, which linked me into a lot of fascia work and yoga, which kind of brought the breath aspect in. And I practiced that for a number of years before really diving deep into breathwork. It just, like we all experience it, just these things are drawn to us or become apparent in our awareness. And went to a workshop, had my mind blown. At that point, I kind of knew the value of it, the power of it, and felt as though there would be a point in time where I wanted to do that. I didn't feel ready at the time. I was deep in my own healing journey, so did dozens more journeys, really deepened my own practice on a daily level, and before deciding to study and become certified in trauma-informed breathwork facilitation, as well as integrating, like you mentioned, all of these other aspects of holistic health. So I am a certified holistic lifestyle coach through the Czech Institute, which really was a way of just bringing about and bringing together all of my own personal practice over the last 10 to 15 years as I healed fascia injuries, a lot of bodily issues myself through natural means. When I was told I'd need surgery and I'd told I'd need this and that, I sort of said no. I challenged those norms. I trusted my body, and I leant on the mavericks that were out there that were putting work and information out there, and I leant into that and practiced it myself. And it's been a long journey, but yeah, after, like I say, a number of fascia injuries, torn ligaments and knees and my shoulders and my sacral area, I've really just embodied and integrated all of these practices into a daily routine, and the level of mobility and freedom I feel in my body and my nervous system and myself is really what led me to want to share that ultimately, and just be like, people need to know. People need to know about this. People need to know the power of their body and their mind and their breath. And for me, a big part of my why, you know, my driving force and my why behind this work is the reclamation of power. I feel like a lot of people have given their power up to outside forces, outside people, whether that's, you know, role models, family members, doctors, it could be anyone, when really we are our own healers, which is fundamental to my what I teach or what I facilitate. I'm not healing you, you're healing yourself. I'm just holding the space and guiding you through the process. It's about reclamation of power, really, for me, yeah, and just integrating the science and the woo-woo and
Yeah.
all of these different aspects that, for me, really illuminate how things work. And if we know how things work, we're able to navigate things a lot more easily and freely.
Yeah.
My first breathwork journey was with a gentleman, Stephen Todd, who was kind of one of the OGs in Auckland and who was a friend of Lucas and Hella, the founders of Awaken Breathwork, who I ended up doing my training with. And they are absolutely world-class embodied facilitators, teachers, mavericks in their own right.
Yeah.
And it just really opened, so many doors for me. That training really, again, led me back to myself, back to my power, which has kind of ebbed and, you know, as we all journey through life, kind of ebbed and flowed through knowing my own power and knowing what's possible. So that training really brought me back to myself and highlighted all of the work that I had done in previous years to heal my body and to heal my breath and my mindset. And mindset's another big thing for me. And that really all comes into it. And then that led me on to studying with the Czech Institute, which Paul Czech is another super holistically oriented practitioner, looking at diet, movement patterns, energetics as well. And there's some functional breathing thrown in there as well with Dave Wood from Integrated Training, just to really bring it full circle so that as a facilitator and coach, I can meet people wherever they're at on their journey, you know, from that really grounded place, you know, right the way into the energetics and the cosmos, the more kind of, again, I don't really particularly like the word woo-woo, but it's, you know, that's what we all know what, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really allowed me to meet my clients at whatever level they're at and take them to whatever level they want to reach, you know.
That's why, you know, you're really attractive to us to bring on at Heart Place Hospital, because for our visitors, it's about meeting people where they're at and then working in partnership agreement. And you touched on that about people giving over their power, so reclaiming their power. And I know in my journey, and it's great hearing having these medical mavericks that have had their pain to purpose stories. So same with me with Heart Place Hospital. It's my pain to purpose, and you know you're in purpose because it flows, and these kind of relationships are easily magnetized. And I know for me, in my beginning of my healing journey, like I had to be met with self-care first for my nervous system. Like it had to be really gentle because I did have a really huge amount of limiting beliefs. And then there was that mindset work, and then it made sense to have experienced the energy work. So I know for me it was a very gentle persistence, and there were times where I was quite jarred. So it's cool. It's cool, I think, for people to hear that our service providers are meeting you where your needs are. Whereas a lot of what Heart Place Hospital is based on is employment assistance program. It's very intense, and particularly when you're brave enough to actually ask for help, intensity is not what you're needing. You're needing soft, really soft, safe sanctuary, and it'd be cool to talk about weave in safety here, because, and I think that's why I really love service providers who've had lived experience, because they know how to hold a safe, soft land. So yeah, I wonder if you can share a little bit more about what space you do offer and what that looks like.
I'll jump off from the safety piece because that really is fundamental. I'll also touch on mindset. For me, a lot of my early journey was around mindset, positive thinking, affirmations, things like that, which were really helpful. And I kind of, at the time, felt like there was, why not? If I can start to reprogram the way I think, there's no cost involved, there's no kind of harm involved. So that was really beneficial. But without the nervous system being on board and our subconscious beliefs and stories and repeating thoughts and patterns being on board, that shift is really hard to make. So all of this comes down to safety for me in my practice, in that when we're calm and regulated, parts of our nervous, we're more open, our heart space is more open, the areas of our brain that allow new information in are open. And a lot of times people, as you touched on, it takes courage to reach out for help, especially when you're in these places that require help and assistance. And if you're not met with safety in those spaces, then it will just cause more shutdown. So creating that safety, it looks different for everyone, but it's ultimately about regulating the nervous system and opening the whole system, physically, energetically, mentally, emotionally, all these bodies, opening them up. And as I said, that looks different for every person, and that's why breathwork for me has been such a powerful tool, because it very much allows each person to be met where they're at, and the natural innate intelligence of the body-mind system will only offer up what we're ready to tackle or what we're ready to be met with. So when we use these methodologies and hold this space, and just really as a facilitator, it's about being open and curious and loving, and understanding that everyone has a journey, everyone's been through different things, whether, we hear a lot about big T traumas and little T traumas, and how these add up and how they are stored in the body and the nervous system. And so safety looks different for everyone, but it comes down to a regulated nervous system, and the breathwork allows us to achieve that regulated nervous system. And then from there, we can kind of break down the limiting beliefs and the limiting stories and start to peel back more layers and create more safety, which allows us to go deeper into the healing process and bring about that change that people are after, really.
Yeah. I think that's really important, because I know when I was starting my healing journey, my perception of healing and trauma and stuff was, lying on a couch and telling the story and repeating the story, and I thought, no thanks, no thanks. And neither did I know that when I shifted through and regulated my nervous system, I wholeheartedly believe that the sign of success is having a nervous system that you can get into regulation. When I did that, the world just opened up. This whole this veil lifted, and magnetism occurred. I didn't have to hustle. I didn't have to be babe boss. Like I could be soft girl. And so that's what I really want to highlight with these modalities, is that you're going into spaces where, one, someone's had lived experience. Two, they've invested in their own healing journey, and they've had this radical remission. Like it's
100%.
Through medical mavericks, and also it's been from others who have done the same thing. They're just pulling you up from where they've come from. We can experience that, and then we can go back out into the world, and we've forever got that knowledge, that knowing, and
Gnosis.
that yeah, correct, yeah, and that practice to fall back on. And if I don't know, if you're in traffic or something, like you've got
Life things,
yeah,
like
you're not. It's not like you're
real
going, oh man, I wish I had a dumbbell right now, or I wish I had my psychiatrist. I've actually got my tool within me. Yeah, yeah, amazing, isn't it? Yeah. So I know we talked about. I introduced how Heart Place Hospital is challenging the norms, and we're bringing on service providers to support us with that, and the more the merrier, because we resonate with and in frequency with so many different people. I just wondered if you could share with us, because I think this is really important, if someone's listening, if they're once again curious about stepping into a caring role, about offering cutting edge modalities, about stepping out of traditional roles and really following their inner pilot light. I just love to share, like, what's it been like being a maverick in this area, like friends, family, business wise, society, kind of how's that been for you, that journey?
It's been challenging and beautiful, and perhaps the most profound opportunity for embodiment, because that's what we're faced with is thoughts and perceptions from other people. And so really, when you're stepping into these roles, and as people are, as the listeners and carers out there are challenging the norms and realizing or seeing for themselves potential downfalls in industries, and wondering how they're going to navigate it, is really just coming back to self, leaning into that trust of their intuition, and doing the work on themselves so that they know what they're offering to others, and they know how to navigate that feedback from others around them and industry professionals and things like that. They know how to move through that, and by doing that work, you touched on magnetism, and so it's really about trusting that when you find your frequency, you move at your own pace, you trust your intuition, all of the opportunities that you desire and that are right for you will come into your life. The more you tune into the naysayers or these big conglomerates or the outside influences, the more you get stuck in fear and doubt and all of these kind of downward negative spiraling. It comes down again to feeling safe in your own nervous system and embodying what you want to see. Yeah. And trust and faith, and just leaning and surrendering that the work you've put in is what will magnetize the opportunities that you need, and just trusting that people out there need your offerings and they need your support, and what you bring as a carer is unique. Again, leaning into trusting that and shutting out any other negativity or thoughts around that.
It's important that we have communities, and that's what I love about Heart Place Hospital, having that umbrella, and with the service providers. So we talk about visitors that come to Heart Place Hospital. They often turn into service providers, and service providers always stay as visitors. So we get service providers like, hey, I'm feeling a bit crunchy right now, like who's under the umbrella at the moment. And so we can refer around like that, and we've done the legwork. We've done the discerning, we've done the connecting. We're like, yeah, there's a resonance there, and also the other thing is because when you do your healing, you become, and you use the word, you just become more in touch. Like often we talk about more sensitive, but I think more connected to yourself. And so the spectrum's there, and that's how you answered it, you know, beautiful and, and challenging. Yeah. So I always say, once you pop, you can't stop.
And I also love there how you brought in, we need community. Like that is a bit, we can't do it on our own, especially as carers and care providers. And again, that's why Heart Place Hospital, what you're doing and the umbrella you're creating is so helpful, because it gives a safe space for providers to lean in and say, hey, I'm struggling, or I'm moving through a lot right now, like say I'm feeling a bit crunchy, whatever the language, whatever the feeling might be, and being okay with leaning into more support from, because when we take on a lot as carers and as facilitators and as coaches and healers, and we need to feed that back to ourselves. And an element of that is, you know, our own daily practices, but also seeking that support from others is
you
huge.
simply just can't self-care your way through life.
No.
You know, we need to feel, to reveal, to deal, to heal. And you know, us too, you know, me too, us too. And sometimes it is reaching out to someone else, just go, hey, can you just check in on some of my blind spots here? And sometimes it's actually, you know, taking some rest and going into deep rest and saying, hey, I'm at capacity right now. I'm going to park up. And that's what I love about Heart Place Hospital now. All our service providers is there's no judgment, because so many of them have experienced judgment. So part of the safety mandate is no judgment. Like if you're crunchy. And also what I love about it is that everyone's multifaceted, you know, like you're gonna bring in food and environment and relationships and the body and, you know, the soul, the whole works. And so people can actually one-stop shop, you know, one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And we talk about a healing round table. So there's not someone across the table from us. We're on a healing round table. And we've got someone who supports us, you know, they're an expert in food, and they're an expert in breathwork, and they're an expert in bodywork. And they're my hairdresser, and they see me and hear me. So I'm going to keep them on my healing round table.
They're hairdressers, healers. They may as well be, may as well be therapists a lot of the time.
Frontline workers, hairdressers.
That's beautiful, frontline workers.
Yeah, and they hold space. And I know for my hairdresser, he often has back pain. I'm like, okay, let's talk about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. For the listeners, it's a ride. You know, it's a real ride. Healing journey is a ride, but it's quite different to the perception of what I ever saw in movies, because community does come out of it for sure. And it's really, I think it's a really exciting time. I mean, I was super keen to get you on board. It's cool to get some young guys like showing up and speaking this language, butterfly language, I call it. You know, you've been the caterpillared, chrysalis, you know, you're the butterfly. Not to say that you won't, you know, there might be another rotation. I wonder if you could share what some of your offerings are, like how you show up.
So my 4 pillars are breath, diet, mindset, and movement. And within that, you know, we have environment, we have toxins, we have radiation, we have dietary, so we have stress. So we don't exist in isolation. There's all these things going on around us at all times. And through these 4 pillars, breath, diet, mindset, and movement, we can really start to, again, peel back these layers and meet people where they are and create bespoke offerings, again, to take them from where they are to where they want to be. So breathwork is the foundation, and that really just allows us to clear out a lot of the old stuck energy, any old stories, emotions that haven't been dealt with, and kind of just start opening the door and then we can really dial it in with mindset and diet and movement practices. Fascia for me, as I mentioned, has been a huge part of my journey, and fascia being part of the nervous system ties in with the breath work. Emotions, unresolved emotions being stored in the body ties into the fascia. I really do look at all of these aspects.
And so do you do that one-on-one, in person or online? How do you?
So we can do online offerings and in person. I've had fantastic results online as well. A lot of people think you have to be in person, but a lot of this work can be done online. In person is, of course, super valuable, and there's that in-person energetic exchange which can be quite valuable too. And in terms of like the body work and stuff, that adjustments and hands-on, obviously that needs to be done in person, but there's the breath work and coaching elements, dietary plans, they can be done really from anywhere in the world. So my process would typically look like a discovery call, discussing what you're looking to achieve, what's going on in your life, why you've been drawn to me. And then we can just really flesh out a plan using all of these different tools and modalities to take you from where you are to where you want to be. Yeah.
And then you have your group breath work.
So that's it. I did forget the group offerings. So that's another really powerful way. Everyone's different. Some people don't like the noise or distraction of other people around them, so they're drawn to one-on-ones. Other people feed off of that energy, and group workshops can be just beyond powerful because you have more people in the room. You have that energetic charge, that
the
collective energy, 100%. So the group offerings are, I'm working on scheduling more and more of these in. I will also be looking at doing sort of 6 to 8 week journeys, so smaller groups that meet regularly and will go for 6 to 8 weeks. And that just really offers that community support. So as you touched on, sometimes, we can get stuck in these ways of being or by ourselves and feel like we're the only ones. So these smaller group containers that I'll be bringing allow us to go a little bit deeper and be met with the support of people around us, knowing that they're going through the same journey, they're meeting the same challenges and seeing the same growth, and we can talk about that, and that shared camaraderie and that sharing is just so valuable as well, which we spoke about earlier. Sharing is a big key to this. I believe we can't talk our way out of everything. That's why the somatic tools I'm so passionate about, because they really get past all of that. You touched on stories earlier, so we can loop in stories, and we try and bypass the stories, going into the somatic experiences, into the body, and then sharing that with a small group. So
yeah, that's cool. There's an opportunity, like if it's resonant, for people to bring you into situations. So we've been a conduit to that for you as well. So there's that opportunity too, isn't there?
Indeed, totally. So for, whether it be corporate events or family dynamic, so we can do 2-on-1 breathworks as well, things like that. So very much open to corporate environments, collaborations with, I've had other health workers reach out to me who have small communities that they have weekly gatherings and things. So absolutely happy to meet whoever out there feels drawn to this work. Absolutely happy to meet them where they're at and share my offerings, and
beautiful.
all those collaborations are available, and look forward to working with plenty more beautiful people.
I know, right? Me too. So we're going to do a little short breathwork session at the end so that we can actually show people what breathwork looks like. Because I think that's, like my experience 9 years ago, I really had no idea. But before we do, I like asking our guests, our visitors, our service providers, Like, what's in your heart place at the moment?
Just sharing more of this work. I really think these group containers are where my focus is going to be shifting to next. Like I say, sort of small groups over 6 to 8 weeks. That's where I see some really big breakthroughs coming. Beyond that, just continuing my own journey, my own growth, my own practices, and
You're about to have a big transition yourself.
I am in a big, there's many transitions going on in life at the moment, so embodying that, embodying the work, and yeah, but on my heart at the moment is really just sharing this work with more and more people, and it's been a blessing to have so many people come into my world recently, and I think the more awareness there is around this work, which is another beautiful part of your work, is bringing awareness to different modalities, is going to be, it's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. It's so really exciting times. I think people are opening up to it. We're in a whole new realm, I feel, at the moment. Lots of things are shifting. So for me, what's on my heart is really bringing more and more of this to more and more people. So
yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on.
I've said a little silent prayer, so begin with breath awareness, just tracking the breath in and out through the nose at this stage. Just noticing where the breath is flowing in the body. Doing a bit of a scan, beginning at the top of the head, relaxing the brow, the jaw, the shoulders, the hips, the feet, the hands, just feeling the support of the ground underneath you as we prepare for the journey ahead. Like I mentioned before, you may feel some tingling, some vibration, some buzzing. You might notice warmth in your body. This is all your breath converting to energy. Know that you're safe, you're supported, and you're guided always. That's it. Breathing down into the diaphragm, out into the rib cage, up into the heart space. And in your own time, beginning to breathe in and out through the mouth, relaxing the jaw, drawing air in through the back of the throat, and soft and full exhale. Removing the pause from the top and the bottom of the breath. Once you find your rhythm, leaning into what it feels like to breathe even 10% deeper, 10% faster. That's it. You should be able to hear yourself breathe. That's it. Doing great. Building energy at this stage. Deep, full body inhales. Soft, complete exhales. allowing the body to move and flow in any way you feel right. Trusting the intuition of your body-mind system. That's it. Removing the pause from the top and the bottom of the breath, creating a conscious, connected breath. That's it. Beautiful work. I'm right here with you, continuing this breathing pattern, fully in, fully out. As you breathe deeply and fully, beginning to imagine yourself surrounded in a bright white light. With every breath, this white light grows bigger and brighter, encompassing everything around you. This is a loving, supportive light. That's it. Beginning to see, feel, or know a green light now entering through your heart space, the spine, behind your heart space. This green light permeates your heart space, projecting out into the world around you, out into the vast white space. This green light flowing through your heart space now. Surrounded by loving, supportive white light. That's it. Relaxing the jaw. Deep, full body breaths. Breathing all the way up into this heart space. Breathing life into the green light as you allow it to flow through your heart space, out into the world around you. See it, feel it, know it. Beautiful work. Now beginning to sense cleansing, clearing, white light cascading from the top of your head through every cell in your body, cleansing, clearing, creating a free flow of energy. That's it. That's it. Cleansing and clearing all that no longer serves, as this white light cascades through every cell in your body. Beginning to slow your breathing down now. Transitioning to in and out through the nose. Slowing the breath down even more now. Shifting into soft, gentle nasal only breathing. Continuing to see, feel or know yourself in this vast white space.
Wow, that was great.
Felt like you were just getting into sometimes it's a little bit hard to bring you out gently. You were just getting dropped in. That was, I hope, still a
that was
lovely experience. Thank you for your time and energy.
A little piece of what you offer. That you can show to others.
A little snippet indeed.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, Jackie, for your time and energy today. Exploring this brief 20-minute journey. Typically these are 60 to 90-minute journeys where we get to dive really deeply. So again, I just want to thank you for your time today, making sure to integrate, be gentle with yourself today, drink lots of quality water, get your bare feet on the ground, nourishing foods, and I would also encourage you to journal anything that came through. Anybody else is interested in a deeper dive, then please do get in touch. So typically the whole session is between 2.5 and 3 hours. So we have maybe an hour beforehand where we can chat about what's going on in your life, what's present for you at the moment, what's forefront of mind, what has brought you to the session, and some intentions for that session, what you'd like to move through and work through during the breathwork journey. We then go into our 60-minute guided journey and then have 45 minutes or so afterwards for integration, for you to share anything that's come through or ask any questions or anything you'd like support with, and just slowly and gently bring the body back into a parasympathetic state. Let all of that, everything that came to the surface, let that all settle and come back to a calm, centered space where we can integrate and bring the insights and the guidance into our daily lives. The longer journeys just allow us to peel back a few more layers. Like Jackie was just kind of getting into the flow there. So the arc of the journey is the same if it's a 15-minute, 20, up to 90 minutes. So we have a portion of activation breath and then a portion of restorative breath. So the arc is the same, but the activation breath is really what allows us to kind of go into the nervous system, go into the brain and the nervous system and start rewiring patterns, bringing more awareness to areas that are often in the dark or subconscious. So the longer journey really just allows us to peel back more layers and explore different areas as well throughout that journey. So it just allows more time and space to explore more, really. We're just getting curious and exploring, and then we do the integration afterwards. So the longer journeys allow more time for that exploratory process. I would typically do 30 minutes as sort of an introductory one, and then we can do daily practices. You know, you could sort of do 5 to 15 minutes as a personal daily practice. I would always advise being held by a facilitator first, so you can kind of learn what's going to come up and, you know, what might be present in the body. So I would typically offer between 30 and 90-minute journeys, and then from that we can explore or kind of curate a daily practice for you to explore further on your own.
I actually can't wait to watch myself back,
Yeah.
because I've never done that. But I felt some emotion come in for sure, but the white light was there even before you said it. And then I just felt so much energy, and you probably saw it in my movement, like I was sort of moving it around. And then I was like, actually, I want to receive. So then I started giving it back to myself.
Beautiful.
And then there was more emotion, and it was at this immense gratitude. And so when you ended with gratitude, I was like, wow, it's been all but gratitude. Yeah. So it was, I definitely felt an upgrade. Yeah. And I can't wait to watch it, because there were times where I was like, wow, like I'm moving my hands but not with my breath. Like how amazing is that? Like usually I have to, you know, when I first start out, I have to guide my breath, because and then I felt there was a wave in my body, and then there were times where it was still sort of stuck, and I just was conscious of my thoughts. I was like, you don't know, you're on camera, like
out of the mind into the body.
Yeah. So there was that, and then I also just felt like there was lots of figure eights. I don't know if that was what you were seeing, but I sort of felt figure eight in my head and my feet, and kind of in my hips as well. So that's that too. I loved being guided with the colours. That was amazing. I loved that. I totally felt safe. I loved the guidance, and I haven't done it with you, so it was my first time with you. So it was lovely. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and energy once again.
Thank you so much for listening to the Heart Place Hospital podcast. Today we got to experience Mitch, Kane, and introduction to breathwork, and so much more. You can find Mitch on his website, mitchellkane.co.nz, and you can also experience any of our other service providers here at Heart Place Hospital on our website, heartplacehospital.org.nz.